She has 10 unread messages, all from men begging for her time. She's scrolling through compliments like junk mail, vacations offered, dinners promised. But when your name pops up, she pauses. She breathes. She replies. Why? Because you're not like the rest. You're not chasing. You're not competing. You're anchored. And that's what makes you dangerous. Not because you say the right words, but because you've done the inner work. Modern men are broken, not because they're weak, but because they've been taught that effort equals value, that chasing equals winning, that if you just give enough attention, buy enough flowers, say enough nice things, she'll stay. But you know what that turns you into? An employee begging for a job. In a company where she's the CEO, and you're just one of 50 applicants, all waiting to get ghosted. Men aren't hungry for love, they're starving for respect. You're watching this because deep down you know, you weren't born to chase her. You were born to choose you. Comment, I choose control, below if you're tired of feeling disposable. And yes, we finally released the ultimate Stoic dating blueprint ebook, public now, but not forever. Why? Because not every man deserves this knowledge, only the ones ready to reclaim their edge. We're breaking this down into 8 brutal truths. Each one is a weapon, each one a shift in how you live. And when you apply these, not only does she choose you, she never forgets you. Number 1, competing for her is weakness. She will never choose the man who tries the hardest. She'll choose the one who makes her feel like she wasn't even chosen, but allowed in. Read that again. The very moment you begin adjusting your tone, your schedule, your plans, your passions, just to increase your odds with her, you've already disqualified yourself. You've stepped off your throne and begged her to sit where only your purpose belongs. Men today have been sold a fantasy, a dangerous idea that women reward submission from men. That the more you show her your interest, the more she'll reward you with loyalty, attention, love. But what actually happens? You open the floodgates of her ego. You inflate her sense of power, and she uses that power to watch you shrink. She'll test you, not with intention, but instinct. She'll start slow, shorter texts, last-minute changes. Then she'll make you wait, just to see if you will. Then she'll provoke a reaction, baiting you to chase. And every time you take the bait, her attraction drops. Not because you did something wrong, but because you made yourself predictable, replaceable. Every time you argue your worth instead of living it, you lose your position as the one she can respect. A man's energy is currency, and when you spend all of it trying to impress her, you end up bankrupt, not just emotionally, but spiritually. She doesn't want your extra effort. She wants your unshakable identity. When you center your life around proving your value to a woman, you put yourself in the weakest position possible, a man who lives on someone else's approval. Ask yourself this: if she stopped responding today, would your schedule fall apart? Would your gym sessions stop? Would your hunger for greatness fade? Because if your foundation crumbles at her absence, you were never solid to begin with. That's not love. That's obsession wrapped in insecurity. The man who refuses to compete is not cold. He's focused. He's not dismissive. He's directed. And in that energy, she senses something she rarely finds. A man who doesn't need her. And that, ironically, is exactly why she wants him. She won't say it out loud, but her actions reveal it. She stays glued to her phone when your texts slow down. She becomes curious when she doesn't understand your rhythm. She begins to feel something rare, a loss of control. Because for once, she's in the presence of someone who doesn't orbit around her universe. Someone who doesn't beg to be noticed. Competing is not strength, it's survival. It's the act of men who haven't built a world for themselves, so they cling to hers. And the truth is brutal. The more you try to become her world, the more she'll want out of it. A man who truly holds power doesn't persuade. He lives, he evolves, he transforms, not to win her, but to win himself. The real game begins when you stop playing it for her and start building a life that makes you magnetic without lifting a single finger to impress. When your presence commands respect without demand. When your vision is so clear, she has no choice but to respect it or walk. And if she walks, she was never strong enough to be part of it. Every move you make to prove yourself is one more reason she has to walk away. She doesn't want to feel chased. She wants to feel chosen by a man who could walk at any moment, but still stand still. Not for her, but for who he is. And when that energy enters a room, it disrupts her pattern. It makes her question everything she thought about men. Not because you raised your voice or showed off your car, but because you showed restraint, power, purpose. That's the man she remembers. That's the man she fears losing. That's the man she wants but doesn't know how to control. And if she can't control you, she'll never forget you. Number 2, detachment is irresistible. You want to know why she forgets the guys who text her every morning and never forgets the one who walked away in silence? It's not about playing hard to get. It's about not needing to be got. There's a level of peace within a man who no longer requires her validation to breathe. A man who wakes up not to check his phone, but to check his goals. That man is untouchable, not because he hides emotion, but because he controls where he places it. Every time you check her story, ask why. Every time you want to double text, ask what you're hoping to feel. If her attention fills your emptiness, you're not interested in her. You're addicted to distraction, and she can smell that addiction. She knows when a man is desperate. She may not say it, but she feels it in the way you reply too fast, over-explain too much, cancel too easily. Detachment is not the absence of care. It's the presence of direction. When you are moving with purpose, you don't have to announce your absence. It's felt. Your emotional control isn't about pretending to be strong. It's about genuinely being so full of your own momentum that her responses, her moods, her reactions no longer shake you. That's when you become attractive. That's when your presence becomes heavy. Not because you're cold, because you're complete. When she feels that weight, she leans in. Not because you asked her to, but because her curiosity betrays her. She starts wondering, why isn't he reacting? Why didn't he chase? Why do I want his attention when he's not trying to give it? You become her mystery. Not by lying, not by pretending, but by being deeply invested in something bigger than her. Your vision. Most men give away their center for a chance at her approval. They abandon the gym, the grind, the focus, all for a maybe. And in doing so, they lose the very energy that made them noticeable. Detachment is when you stop begging the world to like you and start liking yourself enough to walk away from anything that makes you beg. She may not say it, but she craves that kind of strength. The strength of a man who listens but doesn't lose himself in her words, who sees her beauty but isn't blinded by it, who feels deeply but doesn't fall apart. She's used to men folding. She's used to men asking what she wants. She's never met a man who already knows what he's after and won't adjust it for her moods. That man creates gravity. That man becomes rare. And the rare man is the one she can't replace, not because he gave her butterflies, but because he gave her depth. Detachment isn't cruelty. It's self-respect in its purest form. It's knowing you're enough with or without her. It's feeling the desire and still choosing discipline. That's power. And that's why she'll chase you in silence while pretending she doesn't care. Because deep down she knows every man gave her the world, but only one man made her want to be in his. Because deep down she knows every man gave her the world, but only one man made her want to be in his. And if you're tired of guessing how to become that man, if you're done with confusion, overthinking, and feeling like you're always one step behind, then it's time you took back the pen and rewrote your story. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook is linked in the comments below. Not just a guide, but a code, a living map built from ancient wisdom and brutal present-day truths. It doesn't expire, and it doesn't fade. Once it's yours, it's always yours. This isn't a subscription. It's a weapon, one that you can revisit anytime your energy slips, anytime the world makes you doubt yourself again. Read it, live it, and pass it to the version of you who refuses to settle. Because this isn't just a book, it's the beginning of your return to power. Number 3, mystery beats attention. There's a reason why she forgets the guy who texts "good morning" every day, but loses sleep thinking about the one who barely said a word, and yet lingers in her mind for months. It's not about how much you say, it's about what she feels when you don't say anything. A man who gives constant attention becomes white noise, but a man who creates space, real, intentional space, is unforgettable. And it's not the absence that makes her obsessed. It's the depth behind that absence. She knows what it looks like when a man's time is up for sale. She knows what it feels like to be flooded with compliments that mean nothing. That's the environment she's used to. Dozens of men trying to be the loudest, the funniest, the most agreeable. But the man who doesn't try to fill the silence becomes the one she can't predict. And that unknown is what makes him dangerous. That's the man she tells her friends about. The one she can't read, the one she can't label, the one who didn't try to be liked. He walked into her world and didn't adjust himself to match her energy. He held his own. And it wasn't arrogance. It was discipline. It was focus. It was depth. She tried to find a weakness, a crack, a moment of desperation, but it never came. She starts thinking more about you after the conversation ends than during it, because your presence doesn't end when you stop talking. It lingers. Why? Because you didn't show all your cards. You didn't deliver your soul like a gift just to be accepted. You withheld just enough for her to earn access. That's the difference between a man who's liked and a man who's unforgettable. You want to stand out? Don't reveal everything. Don't update her like a status feed. Make your presence feel like a puzzle, one that invites curiosity, not confusion. There's a space between being emotionally available and being emotionally exposed, and too many men confuse the two. You don't have to share every thought. You don't need to over-explain your intentions. You don't need to be constantly reachable. You need to move with intention. You need to let your energy speak in the pauses, because it's in the pauses where her mind starts to ask questions, and questions lead to fascination. When every other man is throwing attention at her like a discount store, the one man who walks with quiet certainty becomes the only one she remembers. She doesn't want the man who always answers. She wants the one who makes her wonder, not by manipulation, but by discipline. A man who controls his expression is a man who controls his impact. Stop trying to be known. Start being remembered. Start showing up not to explain, but to exist. Because the man who becomes a mystery to her doesn't need her interest. He creates it, and that's what makes him unforgettable. Number 4, build a life she can't disrupt. You want her attention? Build something she can't shake. You want her loyalty? Become someone she can't interrupt. There is nothing more attractive, nothing more powerful than a man whose life is already full. Not with women, with purpose, with clarity, with direction. When your days are packed with progress, your time becomes a privilege. She doesn't just get it, she has to earn it. And that shift alone changes the entire dynamic. Because the truth is, women test. Not because they're evil, but because they're wired to seek strength. And the moment you pause your growth, your routine, your schedule for her, She knows she's stronger than you. You think it's romantic to cancel plans for her. You think it shows you care when you reschedule the gym to see her. You think skipping your meditation, your book, your mission, just to text her for hours, makes you emotionally available. But what it really does? It sends a silent message. You're my new purpose. And that is the beginning of your downfall. Because no woman wants to become the center of your world. She wants to enter a world already built with bricks made from discipline, from habits, from fire. When your life is so structured, so intentional, so vibrant, she feels lucky to be allowed in. Not because you're trying to impress her, but because you're not trying at all. You're living, fully. And that's what separates men who lead from boys who follow. If you're still building your identity around what she wants, what she feels, how she reacts, you're not a man. You're a puppet, a placeholder, a substitute for the one who actually built something real. Wake up earlier, train your body until it's a weapon. Write down your goals and split them into micro-targets. Execute them like your survival depends on it, because it does. The man who waits for permission to build his empire dies in his blueprint. She might like your attention for a moment, but she will never stay in a life she can control. What she will stay for, a life she has to rise into, a life that continues, with or without her, a life that doesn't pause when she gets emotional, a life that keeps its course, no matter how she feels. And that's not cold, that's rare. That's a man who is so clear on where he's going that she doesn't just admire him, she trusts him. And when a woman trusts your direction, she lets go of her need to lead. She stops testing. She starts following, not because you forced her, but because you gave her something real to follow. Build the kind of rhythm that doesn't skip beats just because she wants to talk. Build the kind of life where your friends, your work, your solitude still come first. Not to punish her, but to feed you. Because if you're not fed, if your energy isn't grounded in purpose, you become needy, and neediness destroys everything. Men who lead don't pause their life for a date. They fit the date into a life that's already burning. Be the man who's too busy chasing legacy to chase love. Because when she senses your time is rare, she values every second of it. Build that life, build that rhythm, build that edge. And when she tries to enter, don't stop the music. Let her move to your beat or watch her exit the stage. Either way, the music never stops. Number 5, talk to her mind, not her body. She's been told she's beautiful so many times the words feel like background noise. They don't move her anymore. They don't excite her. They don't even reach her. It's not because she's numb. It's because most men are lazy. Lazy with their words,